This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Bridget Bergen, filling in for Allison Stewart. Earlier this year, my next guest, Brandy Clark, was named by the New York Times as one of the 30 greatest American songwriters alive, alongside Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder, Dolly Parton, and other usual suspects. It's a crowning achievement on a career that has so far included hit-making in the Nashville songwriting industry, releasing her own solo albums, and even writing the Broadway show Shucked, which won a Tony for Best Musical in 2023. Brandy Clark has more music in the works, and this Friday she'll be sharing some of it at an event at the 92nd Street Y. But first, she's here with me in studio. Welcome, Brandy.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Brandy, you've got your guitar here, so I'm hoping you could start us off with a song, maybe?
Yes. You know what? I'm going to start off. You mentioned records I've made. This was from my first record, 12 Stories. Raven is the color of her long curly hair. Red is the dress that she knows how to wear. Bluest eyes I've ever seen, maybe just a touch of green. Oh, she could steal most any woman's man. This'd be a real good time to hold my hand. She walked up and said, hello. It's been a while, don't think I didn't notice the nervous in your smile. Wasn't that long ago, you were a whole lot more than friends. So this would be a real good time to hold my hand. Don't let this moment linger. Now would be the time to reach out with your fingers, get them tangled up with mine. Let her know for sure that I'm more than just a soft place to land. This'd be a real good time to hold my hand. If I'm your future, and she's your past, if it's over with her and our love's gonna last, don't let this moment linger. Now would be the time to reach out with your fingers, get them tangled up with mine. Let her know for sure that I'm more than just a soft place to land. This'd be a real good time. Oh, this'd be a real good time. This'd be a real good time to hold my hand.
I'm resisting the urge to woo and start clapping like I would do if we were out at a concert. But that was Brandy Clark. She'll be at the 92nd Street Y this Friday. And that was Hold My Hand. That song is so beautiful. It feels... there's something sad about it because, you know, you can hear the sort of angst in the song, in the narrator's voice. The threat of this other woman. What's the story of that song?
Well, I wrote that with a guy named Mark Stephen Jones. It was actually his idea. He didn't think it was a hook because he said, I don't know if Hold My Hand would be a strong enough hook. And it made me think.
Worked for the Beatles.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, yeah, it worked for the Beatles. And he said, it's like about when you're with somebody and you see their ex and you're thinking, okay, this would be a real good time to hold my hand. And, I think to me, when I get into the character of that song, I think that woman is thinking, that's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And he's still in love with her.
Yeah. It reminds me of Jolene in that way.
Oh, yes, same principle.
But it's got a more haunting quality to it. Brandy, earlier this year, you were named one of the 30 best, greatest living American songwriters by the Times, as I mentioned. How did you first learn that you ended up on that list?
So I got called by my publicist, and I thought they were calling me to interview me about someone else.
Oh.
Wow. And then she was like, no, you're on this list. And I really didn't believe it. I said, I'm going to need you to double check that, because there have been times where I've been told I was on something and then, whoever told me was wrong. And it's such an amazing honor. And, what it really did for me was I feel just so blown away that I was on that list. And so it makes me want to spend the rest of my life and career really proving that I deserve to be on it.
You mentioned your collaborators, Josh Osborne and Shane
McAnally, yeah.
Thank you, McAnally. How did the three of you start working together?
So we started working together. Josh and I were actually at the same publishing company. Yeah. And this was years ago. And we both got set up to write with Shane. And we just sort of became a crew of at the time, none of us had any success. And so we became this crew of not yet successful songwriters who really inspired each other and lifted each other up and believed in each other. And then we all started to have success around the same time.
What is it that you like about writing as a group? What's that dynamic that helps the creative process?
I think it's that none of us are on our game every day. And when you're collaborating, you don't necessarily have to always be, because some days you might just be the cheerleader in the group that's keeping things moving. And other days you might be the quarterback. And I think, also somebody once told me that like when you write by yourself, which I've also done a lot of, how to throw a ball against a wall and how it's going to come back at you. But when you collaborate, you throw a ball and it comes back at you differently than if it was just a wall.
Sure.
And so I've learned so much through collaboration, and really a lot of times when I am working by myself, I try to pretend like I have a collaborator so that I am, trying to impress them. And I don't know, I just think collaboration and also songwriting or any kind of writing is lonely. And so if you can do it with someone else, it's not so lonely.
Yeah. I think people also think of songwriting, poets, these works that we think of as inherently creative, as, things that kind of just originate from this one, you have this eureka moment and suddenly you write this song, when there's a real discipline to the work that you do. The Times described it as a gig you show up for often, several times a week, pushing out as many songs as possible in sessions with fellow writers. Do you think that's an accurate description of the process?
Yes. I always think, people talk about getting lucky and how some people are just lucky. And I think that the people who get lucky are the people who show up every day.
Yeah.
And, make an appointment with themselves or with someone else and keep it.
This past spring, you were on a tour called The Art of the Storyteller that involved performing with other songwriters like Rosanne Cash and Patty Griffin. Where did the idea of an interview tour come from?
So during the pandemic, when we couldn't do anything, I started an online series called You Can't Come Over and You Can't Come In, because I had a song called You Can Come Over But You Can't Come In. And I would interview all different sorts of songwriters. And my manager thought, it did really well during the pandemic and said, you should try to do this live. And so I did. And then I think we have done 9 or 10 of them, and hopefully it's going to turn into a podcast. But I think what the audience loves is that what I try to do is put the other guests at ease in a way that we're just having a conversation that the audience gets to eavesdrop on. And sometimes there's more music than others, and none of them are the same. There's not a format. I usually start it with, what's the first song you remember hearing? And then we just go from there.
That's a great starting question, because it's inherently going to elicit a story from that person.
Yeah.
How do you choose the people who you want to talk to?
Well, I have a list, and then just, I get lucky sometimes that some of these people want to. You mentioned Roseanne Cash. She was high on my list, and she was a yes, which was pretty awesome. And Patty Griffin, she was a big yes. And a lot of it too is I'll ask my fans, like, who do you want me to interview?
Sure.
And oftentimes it's the same people I want to. And then, a lot of times I'm lucky enough that some of these people are also really good friends of mine. People like Lori McKenna and Shane McAnally. I've had both of them. And I've been surprised at the way it has been going over. Because I thought, I don't know. But people really do love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the opportunity to be, in the room where you're having that conversation and to listen in on it, I think it's inherently appealing. You have your guitar. Can we hear another song?
Yes. So I'm going to play you a new one.
Ooh.
I have this song is coming out on September 18th. I'll be playing it on Friday at the 92nd Street Y, but I have a record. My record will be coming out early 2027, but this song, I'm just going to play it. It's called American Roots. Tell me about your family tree. If we start digging, where's it gonna lead? Is it far from here beneath your feet? Tell me about your family tree. Tell me about your mom and dad, and their moms and dads, and their moms and dads. How many trains and planes and horses back did they take to give you the life you have? So you're here, standing in the land of freedom, miles and miles and miles underneath your boots. Every route leads back to the Garden of Eden, and they're all American roots. And tell me about what they passed down. Your grandma's ring and your grandpa's brown eyes. A piece of paper for a piece of ground. Keep passing on through, keep passing it down. So you're here, standing in the land of freedom, miles and miles and miles underneath your boots. Every route leads back to the Garden of Eden, and they're all American roots. It's the light that we're all looking for, the light above that golden door. And when you step foot onto that shore, it's no more mine than it is yours. No more mine than it is yours. No, it's no more mine than it is. If you're here, standing in the land of freedom, miles and miles and miles underneath your boots. Every route leads back to the Garden of Eden, and they're all
That's Brandy Clark, the Grammy Award-winning musician, singing her new song, American Roots. It's from her forthcoming album. She's going to be performing it this Friday at the 92nd Street Y. Brandy, when I'm listening to that, I can't help but thinking about this is the 250th anniversary of the U.S., the United States. Tell me a little bit about what you were thinking about when you wrote that song.
So I was thinking about This Land Is Your Land, actually, and that,
Sure.
I'd just seen that movie, the one about Bob Dylan, the biopic on Bob Dylan, and This Land Is Your Land was in that movie, and I remember singing that as a kid in school, and just thinking that song just always existed, not really thinking, Woody Guthrie wrote that.
Sure.
And so I was talking to the guys I was writing with, and they had also just seen that movie. And we just were talking about it, and like, let's try to write something. I don't want to say we wrote something as great as America or as great as This Land Is Your Land, but let's try to write something patriotic and something that, talks about our country in a way that we all came here from somewhere, and whether my family's been here for hundreds of years, but I'm no more American than the person who came here last year.
Right.
And so we wanted to touch on that. And also, right now we're in such a divisive time, but I still think we have so much more in common than we have different. And in that song is a conversation between two people where you're saying, tell me about what they passed down, what you got from your grandparents, and, your family tree and the things that connect us.
Well, I know you have one more song to play for us. Who Thought I Was?
Who You Thought I Was.
Who You Thought I Was. So let's give you time for that.
All right. Used to want to be a cowboy, a shadow in a sunset. That's why I started smoking cigarettes. Used to want to be a cowboy, used to want to be Elvis, drive a pink Cadillac car. That's why I learned to play the guitar. Used to want to be Elvis. There's a lot of things I used to want to do till I met you. Now I want to be honest. Now I want to be better. I want to be the me I should have been when we were together. I want to be at least almost close to worth your love. I want to be who you thought I was. Used to want to join the circus, hang around with the freak show. Wish I'd learned to walk a tightrope. Used to want to join the circus. Used to want to stay 18. Used to want an Airstream with a lawn chair tumbleweed view. Now I just want you. And I want to be honest. Now I want to be better. I want to be the me I should have been when we were together. I want to be at least almost close to worth your love. I want to be who you thought I was. There's a lot of things I used to want to be till you stopped loving me. Now I want to be steady. I want to be forever. I want to be the me I could have been when we were together. I want to be at least almost close to worth your love. I want to be who you thought I was. Yeah, I want to be who you thought I was.
That's Grammy Award-winning musician Brandy Clark. She's going to be at the 92nd Street Y this Friday. You'll be joined by the duo Sister Strings. We are so glad that we had you here in studio for this performance. Can you just really briefly tell us what time the show is on Friday?
I think it's at 7. I hope that I'm right about that. But basically what we're going to do, the 92nd Street Y likes to make an event out of it. And so I'm going to just take people on a journey through my career. I'm going to play songs from every album, start with, kind of how I got into music. And then all the way through, we're going to play 8 songs off of this new record.
Well, I thank you so much for giving us a preview this afternoon. We really appreciate it. Brandy Clark will be live at the 92nd Street Y this Friday. And thank you so much for joining us on all of it.
Oh, thanks for having me.